Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the show. I hope you're having a fantastic day. I hope this video finds you well. We've got a massively shocking new development in the Charlie Kirk assassination. There is now been confirmed by the FBI that a far-left LGBTQ online group with hundreds of people are being investigated and questioned for their involvement in the Charlie Kirk assassination. On top of that, many of them are being investigated for knowing, not only egging Charlie Kirk's assassin on to do this, to kill Charlie Kirk and assassinate him, but they knew and they warned no one. Also, the FBI has found letters that the guy left behind. On top of that, I ran across a video last night, and I'm going to play you this video here in just a moment, of a person that was sitting just 3 rows from Charlie Kirk. He saw the assassination take place. He started speaking to the media just moments after. When the media in the back was questioning people, he's shooken up. He's crying. You could tell he's in shock. And he's telling them what he saw. And it gets weird. What he starts telling them is things we've never heard before or since. And then out of nowhere, a few other students run up, push him away, grab the mic from his hand, tell him to stop talking, tell him to shut up. Almost a fight breaks out, and the camera's cut off. Weird. We're going to do all of this, where I'm going to cover all this. Plus, Donald Trump weighs in and just reveals a shocking bombshell. Do me a huge favor, ladies and gentlemen. Smash that thumbs up. Subscribe. Leave me a comment. Where are you tuning in from today? And please share the link to this video with a friend or two. Let's get the truth far and wide. Let's speak truth to power. Let's stand up for the principles that Charlie died for, which is speaking truth even when it's not comfortable, even when it hurts, even if when you don't want to, you speak the truth, because the truth will always prevail. And really quickly, before we continue, today's sponsor, Verity Metals. Ladies and gentlemen, I talk about precious metals all the time. Gold, silver, platinum. This is constitutional money. This is biblical money. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. And if somebody ever tells you, buy gold and silver and you're going to get rich overnight, look them in the eyes and say, Vlad says you're a liar. This is a way to protect your finances. It's the safest way to store your finances, to protect them from a market shift, from a financial collapse, from banks collapsing. Now, they do IRAs, 401ks, and everything in between. Verity Metals are Trump supporters. My good friend Matthew is the owner of the company, located in Glendale, Arizona. So call or text 888-328-6105. Mention me, Vlad, for additional gold and silver. Links are down below in the description. Let's get right into it. First thing I want to do is I want to play you guys this video. We're jumping on from here onto my X page. Watch this. And I'm sorry about the language, right? But just I'm playing you the video raw, the way it is.
Hang on.
I was standing in probably the third. Okay.
I was standing from probably the 3rd row in the bottom. I saw hit. I heard the shot ring out. I looked to my left, and then I looked over to my right. I saw him slump over in his chair forward. He slumped over. He had blood coming from the left side of his neck down his shirt, and he slumped over and he was carried off.
Get off me! Get off me!
I saw him slump over in his chair forward. He slumped over. He had blood coming from the left side of his neck down his shirt, and he slumped over and he was carried off.
Get off me!
Do you see that?
Get off me!
Why?
Running high right now. Hang on.
I want you guys to watch this video one more time.
Standing in probably the third. Okay. I was standing from probably the third row in the bottom. I saw hit. I heard the shot ring out. I looked to my left, and then I looked over to my right. I saw him slump over in his chair forward. He slumped over. He had blood coming from the left side of his neck down his shirt, and he slumped over and he was carried off.
Get off me. Get off me.
Emotions are running high right now.
And here's the crazy thing. The guys were standing right next to him when he started doing the interview. And they knew he was going to do the interview. They didn't stop him from doing the interview before he started doing the interview. And then he starts talking about what he saw, starts going into detail. And then these guys who obviously work according to their shirts, right? Because they have the Turning Point USA logo on there, the website. When he starts going into grave detail, that's when they run in, push him away, almost get into an altercation. Weird. Let me know. What do you guys think about that? From here, let's jump onto right here. Before we get to Cash Patel, I want to tell you this. Trump confirms large group of people are under investigation for the Charlie Kirk assassination. Here we go.
Have to be careful. When we attack people, we have to be careful. You mentioned Charlie Kirk, sir. What organizations on the left you anticipate investigating and talking about this last week? Well, the problem is on the left. If you look at the problem is on the left. It's not on the right, like some people like to say on the right. The problem we have is on the left. And when you look at the agitators, you look at the scum that speaks so badly of our country, the American flag burnings all over the place, that's the left, that's not the right.
Do you plan on investigating?
We'll see. We'll be announcing. They're already under investigation. You know, they're.
First thing I want to do is comment on this. Exactly. When Trump says the scum is on the left, the flag burners are on the left, the racists are on the left, the people full of hate are on the left. When George Floyd died, not because a police officer put his knee on his neck, but from a drug overdose, that's what the autopsy shows, and that's what multiple doctors testified to at his trial. We didn't celebrate his death. Show me one video of a Trump supporter celebrating his death. Then 3 years later, actually, when I personally saw, and you can go through my X account feed at ANN_news92, you will see when I saw people like they were, I don't know if they were Trump supporters or who, but some people were mocking, oh, George Floyd has been sober now for 3 years. Happy sobriety. I called him out for it. Our majority did not celebrate. Now, did we go out and riot with them? No, but here's the difference between them and us. We are picking up our Bibles. People are going to church. People are praying. People are uniting. They burn the city. They loot the cities. One of their guys dies. They go steal from Walmart. We fill up churches.
Already under major investigation. A lot of the people that you would traditionally say are on the left.
They're already under
Already under
Have
investigation.
you asked to start revoking the visas of those who have celebrated Charlie Kirk's death?
What?
Have you asked to start revoking the visas of the foreigners who have celebrated Charlie Kirk's death?
No, we haven't, but we are looking at names. We don't like that. That's not.
By the way, foreigners who are in the country who have been celebrating Charlie Kirk's death, they're getting their visas revoked and being deported. Foreigners that want to come visit our nation or could get a work visa or a student visa and who are celebrating Charlie Kirk's death online, they're not going to be, approved. They're going to be denied. And I stand by that 100%.
Right. We wouldn't celebrate if something happened on their side, and we don't. These are sick people. These are really deranged people.
Any progress on the Fed chairman, sir?
Well, other than I don't like him.
No, but you are.
He's incompetent. The Fed chair.
Now, I want to show you something else. This was from last night. Donald Trump posted this. I also shared this to my X page. Okay, here we go. 1 second. Here we go. President Trump just revealed he'll be awarding Charlie Kirk the Presidential Medal of Freedom at the massive memorial service in Arizona next Sunday in front of 70,000 people at the Cardinals Arena.
He was a friend of a lot of the people in this room, and he was a really special guy. So I'm going to be going to Charlie's, I guess you'd call it a funeral. There's the small one. I said, can we do the big one? Because we're going to give him the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which is a big deal. It's the civil version. It's the highest you can get. It's the equivalent of the Congressional Medal of Honor. And usually I say, you know, I like it. He was a friend of a lot of the people in this room.
Before we get to what Kash Patel said about some discoveries they made, I want to show you this. What J.D. Vance said today. It is so powerful.
And was buried and rose again on the third day.
Vice President J.D. Vance sat in today on the Charlie Kirk show for Charlie Kirk from the Vice President office.
Charlie believed, as I do, that all the truth he told flowed from that fundamental principle. I really do believe that we can come together in this country. I believe we must. But unity, real unity, can be found only after climbing the mountain of truth. And there are difficult truths we must confront in our country. One truth is that 24% of self-described, quote, very liberals believe it is acceptable to be happy about the death of a political opponent, while only 3% of self-described very conservatives agree. 3% is too many, of course. Another truth is that 26% of young liberals believe political violence is sometimes justified. And only 7% of young conservatives say the same. Again, too high a number. In a country of 330 million people, you can, of course, find one person of a given political persuasion justifying this or that or almost anything. But the data is clear. People on the left are much likelier to defend and celebrate political violence. This is not a both sides problem. If both sides have a problem, one side has a much bigger and malignant problem, and that is the truth we must be told. That problem has terrible consequences. The leader of our party, Donald J. Trump, escaped an assassin's bullet by less than an inch. Our House Majority Leader, Stephen Scalise, came within seconds of death by an assassin himself. And now, the most influential conservative activist in generations, our friend Charlie, has been murdered. This violence, it doesn't come from nowhere. Now, any political movement, violent or not violent, is a collection of forces. It's like a pyramid that stacks on top, one support on top of the other. That pyramid's got a foundation of donors, of activists, of journalists, now of social media influencers, and of course of politicians. Not every member of that pyramid would commit a murder. In fact, over 99%, I'm sure, would not. But by celebrating that murder, apologizing for it, and emphasizing not Charlie's innocence, but the fact that he said things some didn't like, even to the point of lying about what he actually said, many of these people are creating an environment where things like this are inevitably going to happen. A couple of months ago, I headlined a fundraiser in Southern California, and since we'd be out there anyways, my wife and I decided to take our kids to Disneyland one weekend. We had fun, and to be clear, most of the guests said very nice things, or they just left us alone. But there was a loud and very vocal minority that would shout at my children, who were 8, 5, and 3, whenever they got the opportunity. You should disown your dad, you little shit, one middle-aged woman yelled and was
Just like what Donald Trump said, now JD Vance said. The problem is not on both sides. The problem is not on both sides. It is not. The problem is only on your side, Democrats. The problem is on your side, liberals. The problem is on your side. Just accept us and we want to live among you. But then you demand we celebrate you. You demand we bow down to you. You demand we allow you to brainwash our children while you have men, grown-ass men, dressed in women's lingerie, reading books to our children. I remember here in Spokane, Washington, 2 years ago at the public library downtown, they started doing, what was it? It's not trans, but the other, where drag story hour, right? And they did it. And then when Christian parents rose up and they said, their answer was from the city, if you don't like it, don't bring your children. But here we have free speech and we allow everyone to speak. Well, guess what? A few of my friends and I, we went to the public library and we said, we want to have a Christian story hour here at the public library so that anyone that wants can bring their children here. And we, along with our children and our wives and our families, we will read along with their families to these children Christian children's books. So a Christian children book reading hour. We were denied because apparently it's hateful and too religious. So the men, and another thing, make it make sense. Why does a grown-ass man who puts on high heels, a dress, want to be around children? Why? Why does a grown man want to dress as a woman and be around children? If you want to dress as a woman, go dress as a woman. Shoot. Go run naked in the woods for all I care. Why do you want to be around children? The problem is not on both sides. The problem is not on both sides. The problem's only on your side, Democrats. Check this out. FBI Director Kash Patel reveals the sinister note radical left terrorist Tyler Robinson wrote before assassinating Charlie Kirk.
The written note we believe what did exist, and we have evidence to show what was in that note, which is, and I'm going to summarize, basically saying, the suspect wrote a note saying, I have the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it. That note was written before the shooting. Evidence of its existence, we now have learned, existed before the shooting, was in the location, in the suspect and partner's home. But we have since learned that the note, even though it has been destroyed, we have found forensic evidence of the note, and we have confirmed what that note says because of our aggressive interview posture at the FBI.
Check this out. There's a breaking story right now. So the Gateway Pundit has been looking into Utah. What's going on in Utah? Question mark. Another trans killer, Mia Bailey, slayed parents last year and was arrested in St. George, just minutes from Charlie Kirk assassin Tyler Robinson's home with trans boyfriend. So Tyler Robinson, the murderer and political assassin of Charlie Kirk, lived with a transsexual man. Well, transmission. The same thing happened a year ago in the same state. Let me, and watch this. Watch this. I just go right here. This is what I covered yesterday. And there's an update. Breaking. FBI investigating social media accounts that seemingly knew in advance about planned to assassinate Charlie Kirk, as first reported at the Gateway Pundit. Do you know that this dude who killed Charlie Kirk actually had a song on his account posted 2 months ago called Charlie Kirk Dead at 31? It is an unhinged LGBTQ activist who wrote that song. For my closing statements, this is what happens when you give your kids participation trophies. This is what happens when you give not kids participation trophies, and then teens and young adults safe spaces. This is what happens when something happens emotional in the world, like Donald Trump winning the 2016 election, and that high schools and universities all across the nation don't have class for 2 days and hire a bunch of counselors to counsel a bunch of 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds, 17-year-olds. Guess what? The world is not a safe space. People are going to say things you don't want to hear. People are going to do things that you don't want them to do. Well, guess what? Nobody cares. This is what happens when you treat an entire generation like the world revolves around them. Us conservatives for nearly a decade have been saying participation trophies, safe spaces, and just bowing to the demands of kids is going to raise an entire generation of sissies, of emotionally unstable adults. Now, what do children do when they're young, when they don't get their want? Wait, they scream and they tout and they shout and they fall on the floor and kick with their little feet and stomp with their little hands. Why? Because they don't know how to control their emotions. You're supposed to teach them that, hey, I don't care how loud you scream. I don't care how much you pout. You are not going to get what you want. But when parents, instead of disciplining their kids and teaching them that, hey, get yourself together. If you act like this, you're not going to get anything. But if instead they give them what they want, and you want this or do you want this? Please just stop, honey. See, I come from a Slavic family, right? We come from conservative Russian, Ukrainian, good old spanking. See, I grew up fearing the rod of my parents. Sometimes I just and go away in the room because, hey, you don't want to lash out. Get yourself together. What happens when kids grow up not being taught by their parents how to control their emotions? Well, then they grow up and they start going to people that say things they don't want them to say and saying, shut up. But here's the problem. They say shut up, but the person doesn't shut up. They say you're hateful and stop saying that, but the person doesn't stop saying that. What happens to that person? Because their whole life they were used to screaming, shouting, and touting and getting everything they want. They would just kick their little feet and get whatever they want. Now they're an adult. And they believe the world revolves around them. And they believe if they scream the loudest, they get what they want. But then reality punches them in the face and they don't know how to react. So what do? They turn to violence. This is the product of safe spaces. This is the product of participation trophies. This is the product of not biblically raising your children. The Bible does not say abuse your children or beat your children. No, there's a difference between beating the brakes off a child and a smack on the butt. There's a big difference. This is what happened. This is why we have a whole generation of a bunch of sissies. I take pride in one thing. I have 4 daughters, and I constantly, my oldest is 12, youngest is 5. I constantly, and if you ever meet me and see my family, check me on this. I constantly get complicated. Vlad, Your kids are great. I live by a few principles. My kids earn. They don't just get. The better they act, the more stuff they receive. They know the rule. They have chores that they have to do. And then there are chores that are outside of their bedroom or outside of, like when they eat, they have to wash their own dish. But then there are chores around the house, not including their bedroom, that they make money for. You need to raise discipline in your children. And if they speak disrespectfully to other adults, they will apologize to that adult. I don't discipline my children in public. I don't embarrass them. I don't humiliate them. But at home, you talk to them, you discipline them. You take their, they know that their electronics and TV time and tablets and phones is not, it's not just something they can do whenever. No. It's a privilege. And you can lose it. They can lose it. And the reason I'm like that is because of the way I was raised. Now, was I happy all the time the way I was raised? No, but I am so happy now. And again, we need to go back to that fundamental way of raising children, that old school way where we prepare our children for the real world. It is up to us, parents, mothers, and fathers, to prepare our children for the real world, because the real world is not a safe space. The real world does not give you participation trophies. Do you guys remember when Elon Musk bought Twitter and fired 80% of the staff for doing nothing and getting 100 grand a year, 80 grand a year, 70 grand a year for doing nothing? Do you remember on social media how they would post freaking out? There was one guy in his 20s. He was so distraught and didn't know what to do. He was literally banging his head against the wall for like 30 seconds. He doesn't know how to check his emotions. He probably thought Elon Musk is going to see this video and give me what I want, because he's used to acting out like that and getting what he wants. Ladies and gentlemen, let this sad and horrible situation with Charlie Kirk be a lesson to us. Number one, speak the truth no matter the cost. Raise your kids in a way that they are prepared for the real world. The real world is not a safe space. The real world is not nice. The real world does not give you participation trophies. The real world does not care about your feelings, about your wants, about your needs. The real world will never give you anything for free. You have to go and get it yourself. You have to grind it out. You have to fight it out. And the real world is ugly. And I believe if everyone understood that you can't get whatever you want, you have to earn it. See, that kid, Charlie Kirk's assassin, this is my final thought. He could have got what he wanted without assassinating Charlie Kirk. Want to know how? Beat him in a debate. If you really believe what you believe and that you believe that it's the truth, go debate him. Prove him wrong. Change his mind. Shut him up in front of all the students and all the cameras and the entire world to see. But he couldn't do that. Too much of a coward. Too many participation trophies. And his dad even says in the last few years, he went like more and more and more liberal. Started, went to college, became more liberal, all that stuff. So, ladies and gentlemen, we need to make sure the next generation grows up much more prepared for the real world. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time. Really quickly, I love each and every single one of you. I appreciate each and every single one of you, everyone who watches my videos, who leaves comments, who likes, who shares, even the liberals that come in and hate. I love you. If you're an American and you live in this country, or if you live overseas, but you love freedom, I love you. Even if you hate freedom, may you be blessed. May you learn to love it. May you give your life to the Lord, and may you know the truth. God bless you guys. Love each and every one of you. Man, pray for Erica, Kirk, for President Donald Trump, and for what happens next. I believe a revival was sparked. Churches all across the nation were filled yesterday. It was amazing. Wow. God bless you guys. See you soon.